Everyone, and welcome to this next session on analyzing data in list views and queries. I'm excited to be here with you today because I love this new functionality that's been created. Just a couple of reminders before we get started. Encourage you to ask questions. You can use the chat panel in this application, and we'll make sure we get answers to any questions that get raised during the presentation. These sessions are being recorded, and the sessions will be made available to you following the event. And lastly, we're giving away some great prizes. So take a look at this: 3 $100 Amazon gift cards, an Espresso Virtuo coffee machine, which sounds really good right now. And wow, look at this, for the end of the day, a 12-month Wine of the Month subscription. What you need to do to get in on that is enter your post-session survey. And this giveaway and the winners will be announced at the end of the day. My name's John. I've been working with Dynamics customers and implementing Dynamics for the last 20 years. I lead our small to mid-sized business applications practice at Quisitive, and really pleased to be presenting this functionality for you today. Before we get started, our agenda for today is to talk briefly about the product vision for reporting and analytics in Business Central. We'll talk about the value of list views and this new analyze data feature, and then we're going to show you how this works with both list views and queries. And if that has caught your attention and you really like it, we'll share some learn more resources as well. So on to product vision for reporting and analytics. I think bullet 3 here is the most important one that you want to pay attention to. Microsoft has a vision that the analytic and reporting capability is designed and fulfilled using online consumption. So when we think about Business Central, we think about out-of-the-box reports, our financial reports, even things like standard accounting reports, aging reports, inventory valuation reports. Think about analysis views within Business Central. They're all made available under the hood of Business Central in the web client. The other thing that we have now is this new feature on analysis using list views. Of course, being Microsoft, we have Power BI, and Business Central serves up the data for Power BI using OData feeds. And, that's kind of related to the queries that we're going to talk about here in the presentation. But the point is that all of this data has become really easy to surface in this application. And more, it's becoming easier and easier to use. And that's where this new feature sits. And that's where it really helps us take something like list views to the next level. I always do this presentation when I'm starting a new demonstration for a prospect we haven't met before, and I put this top 10 list together a couple of years ago, and it hasn't changed. And I'm not going to go through it all with you, but I will point out that number 2 on my list has always been the extensive use of filter list views. These are like smart lists for those of us who come from legacy Dynamics products, but this feature just got a lot better because of this analysis capability that's been added. The analyze data on list views and queries feature allows us to do simple things like group rows to more sophisticated things like pivots directly on the list view in Business Central. So think about a pivot. You can pick columns, reorder them, freeze them, set different filters, nest dimensions. You can share these views you create. You can copy them. You can save them to Excel. And you can save the views that you've created for yourself so that every time you go back to that list, they're available for you to look at. Microsoft has also thought about large data sets, and I know there's customers on this call with very large data sets. If you're trying to do this on a view that has over 100,000 records, the application will prompt you to do some filtering to find a more efficient way to deal with the data load. So, very, very interesting, and a lot of thought went into this to ensure that it works across all customer environments. This was released in Wave 2 of 2023. The feature is enabled for all users, and it can be turned off. It's important to know that a new permission data analysis -execute was created. So if there was a requirement to turn it off, you could do that. I don't think you're going to want to, but maybe there is a reason. We also have some, capability here if we're doing some development, turn this feature on and off through developer resources as well. So with that, what I'd like to do is do this quick dive into the analysis feature that's been added. I'm going to go ahead and open up Business Central, and we'll go here, and I'm in our demo environment. So, let's just go back to the basis of list views. Everywhere in Business Central, we have these list views. I'm going to look at our posted sales invoice page right now. And, the great thing about these list views is that you can come to a page like this, and I could click on one of these invoices in the list, and it's going to open the invoice, right? Up here on this corner, I can say I'm going to open this in Excel, or I'm going to share it to, with someone in Teams, or copy the link and send it to someone. I can create filters on these views and then create separate views so that I can go look at them, right? And I could also use the personalize feature here to add columns or take away information that I don't want to see. So why is the new analysis capability important? Well, we have this icon here, and what it's going to allow us to do is play with this data in Business Central rather than, say, exporting it to Excel. So if I click on Enter Analysis Mode, what you'll see is the same data set, but now on the right-hand side of the page, I've got some column filters and some analysis filters. I've got a menu bar at the bottom here that shows me I'm only dealing with 247 records. So think about the presentation we started with, and Microsoft recognizing folks out there with list views with more than 100,000 records. So what do I want to do with this? Well, right away, if I'm looking at this, how do I make sense of this? One way would be to group this by customer, just to do a row group. So I'm going to take customer name here, and I'm just going to drop it into row group. And look, right away, it tells me, hey, by customer, I can see the total dollar value, and I can see, the number of invoices by customer. Now, I've got some columns here that I don't really need. And what I can do is just come over here and just, take those out so that they're not taking up so much screen real estate, right? And you look at this and you think, wow, now I've really got a nice view of data. Within a couple of seconds, I've created this. And so, I can come in here now and say, well, maybe what I want to do is just call this sales by customer, right? So I'll click down here. I'm just going to rename this, and I'm going to call it sales by customer. And I'll go ahead and rename that and save it. Every time I come back to this list view, this is going to be here. Note that when I click on this, I can also copy the link and share it with someone. And within this view, if I right click, I can export the data to Excel, okay, or a CSV. I'm not sure why you do that, but you could. You can also copy the information. Maybe you want to copy and paste the table and put it in a PowerPoint for a presentation. So, a lot of thought went into this. Now, let's say I'm looking at this, customer by sales, and I'm thinking, yeah, but I'd like to kind of see it by year. Well, what I can do now is turn on pivot mode. So let me go create a new view because I want to save my existing one. And I'm going to turn on pivot. And now under pivot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out some of the values that I have here. I only want to look at total sales. And I'm going to go place customer in my row group. So I've got sales by customer. But now I'm going to look at sales by posting date year. And look at that, just like that. And again, this is demo data. So, we're not in 2024. As you can see, we're going back to 2019, 2020, and 2021, but ignore that. Just like that. I mean, I've got sales by customer by year. And so, maybe what I want to do with this one is now say, okay, I'm going to rename it sales by customer by year. And we'll rename that one. And now maybe what I want to do is say, okay, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to create another new view. I'm going to go into pivot mode, and I'm going to do very similar to what we just did there. I'm going to go turn these off again and put my posting year in there. Maybe I'm concerned about one of our sales reps and just want to keep an eye on the volumes that they're doing. So, in this posted sales invoice record, we have a salesperson code that's there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my analysis filters, And I'm going to go to the salesperson code, and I just want to track what Bugs Bunny is selling. So that's BB, and you can see here, okay, some good growth between 2020 and 2021, but the volume that they're doing right away at Datum's got three invoices, and Roadrunner has one. So now what I'm going to do is say, okay, I've got sales by Bugs Bunny, and we'll save that there. Okay. So now I've done 3 analysis that is going to stay up to date as the data is posted into this list view. These numbers are going to update, which is fantastic. If I want to turn off the list view, I just come back here, and this is the native view that I look at, right? I navigate around in Business Central. Tomorrow I come in. If I want to know if there's any updates on those reports, I can go to posted list views, and I can click on analysis, and I'm going to see my tabs at the top because it's saved it. So, I think this is a really handy feature, and again, you could come to your sales by customer by year. I've got this view here. Instead of doing an analysis filter on the salesperson code, I could have nested in salesperson right here under this. So now when I look at School of Fine Art and I drill down, I can see, which salesperson is selling it. You can see there's some blank data in here because this is a demo application, but you get the idea. So just a really, really powerful feature. And the fact that we're doing this all in the web client, with a great response rate. I don't have to push this data out to Excel. It's staying live in here. I think this is a huge, huge step forward. I mean, when I think about when we used to do this in our legacy Dynamics products, we would, we'd rely on like cubes and data cubes and data exports and all kinds of sophisticated things to get to, very simply, customer sales by year or trends by month. So you can start to appreciate that this is very, very valuable and a great new feature. Now, Microsoft has added another piece to this, and I want to talk about this briefly because it's probably something that a lot of people, don't know or don't use that much. But if you're doing business intelligence stuff with Power BI, you would know this. If you search for web services, what you'll see here is a list of the web services, or OData feeds as we call them, right? These OData feeds here. These URLs allow us to open these queries or page objects in Power BI or even Excel. And effectively what that does is it brings back the contents of that query. Now, I don't want to get overly sophisticated here, but what I did was I just did a search and I said, okay, I want to look at, they call these objects. So if you search the all objects page, you can create a favorite and you can bookmark it. And then what I did is I put a filter on it to say, I only want to see queries. Okay, so why? Long story here. Here's all these queries in Business Central, right? And as you scroll through them, you can kind of see, hey, this is interesting. So Microsoft's added this new feature to the query capability. So how do you open a query in Business Central to look at it? Okay, a lot of people probably, wouldn't know this, but basically what you're going to do, I want to look at this query 103, item sales and profit. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I just go back to my homepage to shorten this URL bar because it's easier. And you see up here in the URL, after it says US-mem, there's a question mark, company equals quizzitive. Just take that last piece out. And what you want at the end of this is question mark query. Helps if you spell it right. Query equals 103. Okay, so I did this before I came on to the demo just to make sure it all works right. So any of those query numbers, the reason I save those is so I can have the query number. That's the formula you need at the end. Question mark query equals and whatever the query number is. So if I go, just click enter, what it's going to do is open query 103. And it's going to present to me, hey, here's your item sales and profit. This is the data we're bringing forth in the query, right? So you're going to get, here's all the items, a whole bunch of things about them, profit percentage, scrap, standard, unit cost, unit price. Over here, I get into more interesting stuff, how much has been purchased, quantity, sales quantity, vendor name, etc. So what Microsoft did, they put the analyze feature on here as well, right? So I quickly created one here before I came in where I was looking at, okay, here's the vendors and, here's the sum of sales and cost of goods sold by vendor as well as the quantity. It's just a great way to understand what's going on. And again, there are a lot of queries there, but the fact that you could create this analysis view, using queries, again, you can come back and do all the same things you wanted to do before. In this case, I was looking at vendor, but hey, we sell a lot of products, so maybe it's easier just to look at the product description as my row group. And now you can see, and you could sort these by profitability. You can see how much you're selling, right? And, you've got all this data that's here that you can sort on. So you could create a pivot, you could come here and just say, I'm going to sort by, sum of sales. And maybe I'll drag that over here so that I don't have to go left to right. But you can see here as well that you could reorder the numbers and the columns, and it's giving us all the information that we want to see to be able to see what we're selling the most of. So, again, just a really useful feature. And I think anytime I look at data in Business Central, I'm honestly going to use this feature. I think it's huge. I think it takes everything to the next level. I think this is Microsoft showing their muscle. I haven't seen anything like this in other ERP solutions that are out there. So I think this adds tremendous value to Business Central, and it supports the Microsoft vision of being able to do analysis, online within the application. Again, many years ago when I started this journey with Microsoft and Dynamics GP, we were selling cubes to do this. And it was a whole different piece of software. You had to buy like Cognos PowerPlay because everybody wanted a little more than Excel, and you had to wait for the cube to refresh and stuff like that. And this is pretty close to cube capability built on the data set. For those that get more sophisticated, you would know that as a partner, we can create custom queries for you to be able to, to bring this information forth. So a lot of good features here. And if I caught your interest and attention, we'll just come back to close this out with, hey, how can you learn more about this? Well, Microsoft has created a new course in Microsoft Learn called Analyze List Data using data analysis mode in Business Central. So in 35 minutes, it'll take you through, what I've taken you through in about 18 minutes. But there's probably going to go into a little bit more detail than what I did here. But I really do think you'll find it very interesting and useful. And I hope today's session, this quick dive into analysis feature, was useful to you. If you have questions, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to talk more about this great product, Business Central, and the capabilities that it has. Thanks for your time and attention today, and I hope you're enjoying the event. Have a great day.